Good morning and welcome to day 60 of the Geriatric 1944 Coronavirus Diaries. When I say day 60, actually I've been self-isolating for 80 days now. I got what I thought at the time was either a bad cold or a mild case of flu way back in early March. And as any normal, sensible person does, I self-isolated for two reasons. One, it's the only way to get rid of it. You go to bed, drink lots of liquids, take lots of paracetamol and hope to get better, which I did in about 3 or 4 days. And also that way you don't spread it to others. By the time I recovered and got myself together, this coronavirus thing was starting up. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to keep not going out and mixing with people. And then, of course, the official lockdown happened. Quite unnecessary, I suspect, but still, I personally would have thought concentrating on the vulnerable and protecting and treating the elderly especially, but also the diabetic and the obese and those who smoked and all those who were particularly vulnerable would have been a better way to deal with the coronavirus, but that's a rather controversial feeling. That's based on the fact that it's actually basically a trivial virus for the vast majority of people who get it and whose symptoms are mild or slight, 95% I reckon, and is only serious for about 5% and only lethal for about 1% of people who get it. So for me, there is a far better way and less destructive of society and the economy, but still, that's the way the world has gone, so we must, of course, obey, especially if the media tells us to. I know all about the media. I know nothing about medical matters. I do know about the media. I've used it myself for 70-odd years now. I know what you do to make the most of things. And I touched on something, a few days back, in fact, a few weeks back, my relationship with various assorted beetles. And I've had several requests on various assorted sources and forums like Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, Facebook, YouTube, as well as here on kingofhits.com, saying, could I please tell the story of He's So Fine in more detail? Well, George Harrison, who was a good friend of mine back in the 60s and who I was always very fond of, George actually made a really terrific record. I thought he made the best of all the solo records of all the Beatles, and he made a brilliant record called My Sweet Lord. But I noticed immediately that it was melodically incredibly close to a chiffon song from a few years earlier called He's So Fine. So I actually did my version of He's So Fine, incorporating not only my backing singers singing Georgie, Georgie all the way through, but also various assorted lines from others of his songs, just to illustrate that you could do a similar arrangement to My Sweet Lord to actually He's So Fine. Well, as it happens, the He's So Fine writers put that up to the judge in the case against George Harrison, and they won. The judge listened to my version in court and said, my God, it's incredibly similar. Yes, George deliberately stole this melody. I don't think he was right there. I don't think there was anything deliberate at all. I think it was subconscious and accidental and a coincidence. But still, George lost the case and never spoke to me again, sadly. Then a few years ago, he passed away, which is rather sad because he was a friend back in the 60s. Anyway, for you, I thought I'd play today. On much requests, I would give you a spin of my version back in the day of He's So Fine. See you tomorrow.
shy away forever, and I'm gonna make you mine. If it takes me forever and ever and ever. He's so fine, Georgie. He's gotta be mine, Georgie. Sooner or later, Georgie. I hope it's not later, Georgie. We've got to get together, Georgie. The sooner the better, Georgie. I just can't wait, I just can't wait to be held in his arms. See you in court. If I were a queen,